I viewed the market's action today, April 8th, 2025, as more concerning to me in some ways than the steep declines from last Thursday and Friday. There are several reasons for this increased concern. Primarily, the concern was that the stock market started with a robust rally today, which I personally viewed as suspect since Trump was going to impose an additional 50% tariff on China's exports to the U.S., which would take those tariff rate to over 100%. As the day progressed, and I think this fact of the acceleration of the trade war with China sunk in, the stock indexes gave up their gains, but then made several attempts at a rally, taking the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average into positive territory, but only temporarily. However, all of the rallies ended up failing, and the market did a significant U-turn after 2 days of significant losses last week, with the S&P closing down 79.48 or 1.57%, closing at 4,982.77. And the NASDAQ composite fell further into bear market territory, as did the Russell 2000. The NASDAQ composite declined 2.15%. The S&P 500 at one point entered into a bear market territory at around 2:49 Central Standard Time today, hitting an intraday low at 4,910.42. A 20% decline from the 52-week high hit in mid-February 2025 was at 6,147.43. So a 20% decline would put the S&P 500 index at 4917. And intraday, that level was pierced to the downside, but a late 10-minute rally into the close took it above the 20% decline mark. The failed rally attempts in stocks, and there were multiple failed rallies today, was not the only concerning issue, in my opinion. The US dollar index, which has the symbol DXY, you can find it at MarketWatch and other financial websites, is trading below its 50-day simple moving average line. The US dollar has been declining in value against 6 major currencies that are included in this US dollar index, and it's weighted in the euro. It also includes currencies like the Japanese yen and the British pound. When the USD declines in value, imports become more expensive and will add to the significant inflationary pressures created by the Republican tariff taxes on U.S. imports. The crackpot economist that advises Trump, and possibly the only one that Trump listens to now, has repeatedly claimed that the tariffs would cause the U.S. dollar to rise in value and would consequently offset some of the tariff increases. The U.S. dollar index has been making a series of lower highs and lower lows starting on February 3rd, 2025. Another concern that I have from today was that interest rates moved higher, and I'm talking about Treasury yields here. So as the stock market declined, normally I would expect that there would be a flight to quality in the U.S. Treasuries, but that was not the case today. The 10-year Treasury went down in price and up in yield. The 10-year Treasury rose more than 11 basis points and has been extremely volatile over the past several days. There is a possibility, as I've mentioned previously, that China and other foreign governments will retaliate against the U.S. tariff taxes by dumping their treasuries and/or refusing to buy more, which could contribute to higher interest rates along with the Republican policies that will add to inflationary pressures that I've discussed in several previous videos. I did some minor small ball buying today as I did yesterday. I purchased dividend paying stocks that mostly had yields in the 6 to 8% range at my total cost. The purchases were primarily equity REIT stocks. I've not yet moved the needle on my overall 7% stock allocation as a percentage of my total assets held in my 4 brokerage accounts. The problem remains and is still the uncertainty that Trump has created about the future. Will the tariff war that he started end up in a favorable resolution soon, or will it result first in a worldwide and serious recession? While people who view Trump as a messiah chosen by God, an honest person who tells it like it is, a genius businessman, and a good role model for their children, believe that the pain will be short term with long term benefits, I see no evidence yet that a favorable outcome will occur before serious economic problems develop and America permanently loses its role as a leader of the free world, which it is doing now. In the process of doing now, I should say. I am receiving a number of rants striving to reach a juvenile level and mean-spirited as well from members of a certain cult. Those comments are not worth a second of anyone's time reading them and have no value whatsoever. The members of this cult will become angry, and exceedingly so, whenever a fact is presented that is inconsistent with their reality creations, and will hurl ad hominem attacks like their Messiah does routinely against the messenger, rather than refuting the facts since they have no factual rebuttal anyways. They are permanent residents of an Orwellian bubble created by them and for them that no accurate fact will ever be able to penetrate. Never, ever penetrate. Personally, I've grown weary of their juvenile rants and uninformed and erroneous conclusions that they try to pass off as statements of fact. I took action to protect my assets based on what I believe would happen this year. As those who are familiar with my blog post already know, Trump made it clear, crystal clear, to everyone that he was going to impose high tariffs on every country before the election. And everyone who voted for him, in effect, approved of that policy. All of them own what is happening now, including the persistent and serious authoritarian actions and demagoguery of the current president.